What is wireless or wireless LAN or WLAN network? So wireless or Wi-Fi is actually wireless fidelity. In some of the literature, some old books, you will find that Wi-Fi stands for wireless fidelity, and some literature, some books will say no, it does not. But in general terms, we can say Wi-Fi stands for wireless fidelity. So Wi-Fi or WLAN, it's a network in which devices are connected without wires, without cables, directly through air interface, right? Through radio signals. Just like our mobile phone connects to the mobile network to towers without any cable. Although our mobile phones have cables, but those are for charging. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about data cables to transfer the data or to get the internet. So this is called Wi-Fi or WLAN or wireless local area network. W for wireless and LAN is local area network. So it allows us to easily access our network without any cables. For example, for mobile devices like smartphones or tablets or any other device. It is mainly used for end device connectivity like laptops, mobile, security cameras, Wi-Fi printers, smart TVs, all of these kind of devices. But it does not mean that everything has gone wireless now. Most of our network still stays connected through wires. So at our home in a typical network or at our office, usually we have a Wi-Fi router. Some devices are connected through wires like desktops and printers, but most of the devices are connected through Wi-Fi like mobile phones, like our laptops, our tablets, and then from Wi-Fi router to our ISP, to internet service provider, and onwards to the internet, the worldwide internet, it is always a wired connection. You might have seen very seldom that a Wi-Fi device or a Wi-Fi router is connected further through wirelessly, because wireless, it gives us flexibility, but it also has its own demerits. First of all, it's not so secure. So we can easily bring down a Wi-Fi, we can easily hack a Wi-Fi network through an external network card which runs aircrack ng in Kali Linux or any other similar tool. So it's very easy to bring down a Wi-Fi network, to hack a Wi-Fi network. I made a video on it last time. You guys can follow it. I'll share the link in description. So that's why we always use in our offices, especially we use wired network. Why? Because it's so secure. The second problem with Wi-Fi or wireless networks is speed and reliability. So you might have seen that Wi-Fi, sometimes it goes up and down whenever there is interference, whenever your neighbors are running their Wi-Fi router on the same channel, same band like 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz, then it starts interfering and then your network is intermittent. But if you have cable and your neighbor also has cable network, there is no problem, right? Because you have your dedicated media. So that's the problem with Wi-Fi or wireless network. But the best thing is flexibility. That's why almost all the devices as of today, especially in our homes, they are wirelessly connected, right? So it has its merits and demerits. But 80% of our network is still through wired. Our switches, our routers, our data center connections, our internet service provider, internal cabling, everything is wired, especially through fibers, because fibers or copper ethernet cable, they give us higher data rate and more reliability, more security as compared to wireless. The official standard, just like Ethernet, it has 802.3. So wireless has a different standard which is 802.11. You might have seen whenever you buy a device, a new mobile phone, a new laptop, it tells you that okay, it supports 802.11 AC, AX, BNG, Wi-Fi 4, Wi-Fi 5, and these days even Wi-Fi 6 is very common. So this is the official standard. Even if I go to my laptop and I click on network connections in here on the properties, so it shows me on Windows 10 that my laptop is connected to the internet through Wi-Fi 4 is the standard and the code is 802.11n, and it is using 2.4 gigahertz band and using its first channel. And then the speed you can see here, my Wi-Fi is giving currently 144 megabits per second, which is maximum 144, which is very less. If I connect it through a cable, the cable will give me easily 1 giga, which means 1000 MB. That's why in offices and in whenever we need reliability, we always prefer wired connection. But of course, Wi-Fi has its own merits, which is the biggest one is flexibility. Another important point about wireless or Wi-Fi is that it is usually half duplex, but still we get enough speed. I made another video on half and full duplex communication. You guys can watch that one on the same channel. And the second thing, another important point is that Wi-Fi uses ISM frequency band. ISM stands for Industrial, Scientific and Medical bands, and these are the bands which does not need any license, which means if you want to start a Wi-Fi network at your home, you don't need to have a license, right? Just like we buy a Wi-Fi router or our ISP gives us a network connection, a new internet connection, they install a Wi-Fi router, we start running it without any license. Why? Because we are usually running 2.4 gigahertz or 5 gigahertz frequency band, which does not need any license. So it is ISM band. This is very important interview question. Most of these things are related to network engineer interview questions. Then what is SSID? SSID is called as service set identifier. In simple words, it is just the name of your Wi-Fi network. When we are configuring the Wi-Fi device, at that time we give it a name to our network. We can have more than one SSID through one device as well. So this is just a name, just like if we click here on our network, on our Wi-Fi icon, then we can see here NW network Wi-Fi is the name of the network of the Wi-Fi network. So this is called SSID, service set identifier, service set ID. This one has SSID, which is brand X internet. This one has service ID, which is Bronco. So this is just a name and it can be duplicate as well. It does not create any problem, right? So this is called SSID. Then how does a typical home Wi-Fi router look like? What is it, what we buy or what our ISP is giving us? So usually in our small offices or our home Wi-Fi network, we usually have this kind of device. Some models, they look like this with multiple antennas, with MIMO, multiple input, multiple output, or sometime multi-user, multi-input, multi-output, MUMI, MO. And some, I think this is Netgear and this is Cisco typical Wi-Fi router. But most of them, they have common properties. On the back end, they will have a power cord, they will have few ports and a USB as well and a reset button. So usually the most important thing is we have one WAN port. This WAN port means wide area network. This goes towards the ISP, and then LAN ports, we have usually 4 or 6 or 8 ports depending on the model of the router which you are buying and the cost. So it has LAN 1, LAN 2, LAN 3, which means we can connect some devices through cables. But most of the devices, if we are connecting through Wi-Fi, we don't need to use these yellow ports. The colors can be different, but this is the common color. For LAN, we use yellow color. For WAN, usually it's blue or light blue color. So that kind of home Wi-Fi device, it's like a hybrid device. It's not a router, it's not a switch. So it's a combination of a small switch. This yellow portion you can see is a switch. And between this switch and this WAN connection, we have a small router which can do only default routing. I made a detailed video that how or which kind of devices are our home Wi-Fi routers. So that is very insightful. You can watch that video. And usually they have small modules, small capability for security, for DHCP services to assign the IP addresses, NAT to convert public to private and private to public IP addresses, quality of service, and some other features depending on how expensive or which brand or which router you are going to buy. And this is all about Wi-Fi or wireless LAN. That what is Wi-Fi or wireless LAN, how does it work, And in the next videos, I'll discuss about Wi-Fi standards, that what is A, B, G, N, AC, AX, what is Wi-Fi 5, Wi-Fi 6. I'll also discuss that which bands do these Wi-Fi's use, where does Wi-Fi belong to the overall spectrum, right? How to remember it, which types of bands are we using, how many channels each band allows us, like 14 or 22, how does 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi work, which channels can be used in which country, can they overlap or not, what is 5 gigahertz, what is UNII, and which frequency bands we can use, how does the signal strength it decreases when we move away from our Wi-Fi access point, what are the security standards, how to configure, and which one is more strong, which one is less strong. And then of course a practical lab, how to configure Wi-Fi, which type of Wi-Fi topologies, some basic terms about frequency, how does the interference from Wi-Fi sources and non-Wi-Fi sources can affect our Wi-Fi, right? And then in the end, we'll discuss some questions as well. So let me ask you a question to test your knowledge. Please tell me which one is Wi-Fi 6 standard out of these four. Is it G, N, AX or AC? You can write your answer in the comment section. Another question is, which are the two Wi-Fi bands which are used commonly? Is it 2 gigahertz or 2.4 and 5 or 2.4 and 6 or 5 or 6? And another question is that which Wi-Fi interference do you think is more severe, more damaging? Is it co-channel, is it adjacent channel, or is it non-Wi-Fi sources like from microwave ovens and cordless phones and all of that? And how many non-overlapping channels can our Wi-Fi 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi band give us? Is it 2 channel which do not interfere with each other, can run independently? Is it 2, 14, 4, 12 or 3 or something else? So you guys can answer these questions and stay tuned. If you need any information, if you have any question, you guys can ask about what is Wi-Fi. And in the next parts of the videos, next parts of this Wi-Fi series, wireless series, I'll be making videos on these wireless standards. So thank you for watching. Any questions, please write in the comments.